bad cats. Won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
A Nightmare on Elm
Street. Come to Freddy.
Yeah.
Come on, Freddy's dead.
You know, my mother and my grandmother, they grew up on Elm Street, so it was always fun visiting my grandmother's house.
Did you have a lot of nightmares?
In fact, they also lived on a dead end in front of a cemetery.
Ew.
It was great.
Explains a lot.
It was great. Take yourself back. 1984.
Yes, Big Brother.
There he is. May 11th, a fire at the Haunted Castle attraction at Six Flags Great America in New Jersey traps and kills 8 teenagers. Six Flags is indicted on aggravated manslaughter. The trial jury found the defendants not guilty of criminal charges. However, Six Flags paid millions in civil damages to the victims' families.
How horrifying. And anytime there's a incident at an amusement park or a fair or something, it breaks my heart a little bit more just because people were going there to have such a good time.
Yeah.
To die in a horrible fiery death trapped inside of a haunted attraction?
Yeah.
That's a little too on the nose, man.
It goes from your best day ever to your worst day ever.
How'd you die? Well, I was trapped inside of a haunted attraction and burned to death. Really? No, how did you die?
Well,
horrifying.
July 4th, the Beverly rooming house fire at the Elliott Chambers, a low-rent rooming house in Beverly, Massachusetts, kills 15 people and injures 11 more. The fire was set by a man whose ex-girlfriend was going out with someone who was staying in the building.
Short-sighted.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm standing by that.
It's a bold stance. Yeah.
You know? But what? Good Lord, man.
Who decides? Well, this guy's dating my ex.
Hey, man.
Better burn the house down.
He's with his friend, drinking Schlitz. Like 8 Schlitzes in. He's like, oh, I'm going to burn down that building. And his friend's like, you should do it, man. You should do it. Just burn the whole building down, man. Just show her. You show her.
Okay. All right.
And then he goes. Okay. And then yeah.
October 3rd, the pilot for the TV show Dreams, written by Andy Borowitz, who created The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, directed by Bill Bixby, and starring John Stamos, Jamie Gertz, and Kane DeVore, premieres on CBS.
Oh, what a day that was.
The only reason I bring this up, beyond the fact that it's called Dreams, is because I worked with Kane DeVore at AMDA. He was a teacher there.
Nice. And Bill Bixby was the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, he was.
And a great director. He directed a ton of sitcoms and
I had no idea that Andy Borowitz of the Borowitz Report created The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It was a weird moment with Dreams. Yeah.
It was. Let me tell you a story.
November 9th, A Nightmare on Elm Street is released in theaters.
I see what you did. You had a couple of Bernie Burns and a little bit of Dream of Dreams.
That's right. It took me a really long time to find this stuff. But
sure.
Yeah. Again, another horror movie released not during Halloween, but the weekend after.
But it's because they only had like 3 weeks from shooting
That's true.
to release.
That's true.
But man, I got to tell you, this movie, it's probably my favorite out of the bunch. That's why I insisted we ended with this one.
Sure.
No, I didn't. But I love this movie. It was the first movie, because I would get creeped out and scared a lot as a kid. Like I remember. Saw The Omen way too young. Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Saw Exorcist way too young. And that was back when I was a Catholic. So I was convinced that I was the son of the devil, or I was going to get invaded by the devil.
Right.
And I was always, like so petrified of the devil coming into me or being, it just shows you what a weirdo I was. And when I was a little older and saw the Halloween movies and Friday the 13th, they scared me, and they scared me in a different way. But
Yeah.
But I remember Laser Tag Larry. Poor Larry. What a horrible nickname. I apologize if you ever listen. We went to see that as a double feature with something else. I think it was Chud or something. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
And that movie freaked us both the F out, man, because it changed all the rules.
It was you can't even sleep.
No.
Because he will get you.
But not just that. When he did that Goonie Bird run,
God.
the first time,
The
and you're
first
like,
time and
oh, God, he can run.
The big long arms.
Yeah. And then he's like right in front of you, and you realize that in your safest place, in your bed, in your dreams, he can come kill you. It is brilliant. It is so scary and done in such a great way. It is so creep, and it is truly frightening. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a frightening movie.
Very,
and
very scary.
I remember, I'm just going to go down this. I want to get this out of the way. I know I've talked about growing up in a haunted house during our Halloween months, our Spooktobes.
Yeah.
But this was the only time after watching this movie that anybody else experienced the spook in my house, because we were downstairs, and this was before I had moved upstairs, to the loft where all the real stuff happened. The attic. It was not attic. It was just a second floor, an unfinished second floor in a brand new house. It wasn't. But anyway, so Larry and I, we come back. We're creeped out, trying to watch something, to take our minds off of the creep. And then always, because Larry lived in a house that had very healthy foods, he always wanted cookies when he came over to my house. So he's like, let's go get some cookies. I'm like, all right, we'll get you some cookies. So we open the door, and we take one step out into the dark hallway, and we hear, from upstairs. And I'm like, did you hear that? He's like, yep. And then, and this is true, in any instance of danger, Larry always pushed me in front of him as a human shield, and then would run away. And so he did that, and I'm like, nope. And then we're like, no cookies. And we went back, and we didn't come out of the room until the next morning because we were both so freaked out.
Wow. I didn't realize I had more in common with Laser Tag Larry than I thought. Yeah. So I would definitely push you in front of me and run away.
Yeah. He did that one time. The stepdad came around the corner with a gun, and Larry saw it, pushed me in front of him, and
there you go.
Ran away. That Laser Tag Larry. He had a lot more to live for than me. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. All right. Well, we got to start with Nightmare on Elm Street. We got to start with, of course, writer and director Wes Craven.
Yes.
Craven was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1939. He was raised in a very strict Baptist family. Craven earned an undergraduate degree in English and psychology from Wheaton College in Illinois and a master's degree in philosophy and writing from Johns Hopkins University.
Smarty.
He was a very intelligent man. In the mid-'60s, Craven had a series of teaching jobs at colleges and high schools, which is what you do when you have a master's degree in philosophy. During this time, he purchased a used 16mm film camera and began making short movies. His friend Steve Chapin informed him of a messenger position at a New York City film production company where his brother, future folk rock star Harry Chapin, worked. His first creative job in the film industry was as a sound editor.
Nice. And you had to do that with a blade. That wasn't like, it wasn't digital like it is today.
No, it was physically cutting stuff.
You had a little cheekity cheek. It was tough, man.
Oh, yeah. It was very hard. Recalling his early training, Craven said,
Harry was a fantastic film editor and producer of industrials. He taught me the Chapin method of editing. Nuts and bolts. Nuts and bolts, get rid of the shit.
Craven afterward became the firm's assistant manager and broke into film editing with You've Got to Walk It Like You Talk It or You'll Lose That Beat in 1971.
Well, first thing you should have edited was the title. Jeez
Such
Louise.
a long title. The movie was written and directed by Peter Locke. It involves a young hippie and his search for the meaning of life while in Central Park. Its soundtrack includes some of the earliest released music by two members of Steely Dan.
Yeah, John Steely and Dan Frimps.
Okay. The film also stars Richard Pryor in an early role, playing his signature wino character, and actor-director Robert Downey Sr.
Ooh.
Yeah. Craven found a steady stream of income by directing pornographic films.
Ooh.
In the documentary Inside Deep Throat, Craven says he made
many hardcore X-rated films.
Under pseudonyms. Never used his own name.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Wes Craven's Big Boobs on a Boat.
Craven's first feature film as director was The Last House on the Left, which was released in 1972. Craven expected the film to be shown at only a few theaters, which, according to him,
it gave me the freedom to be outrageous and go into areas that normally I wouldn't have gone into and not worry about my family hearing about it or being crushed.
Sean S. Cunningham, eventual creator of the Friday the 13th franchise, served as a producer and actually pooled his resources with Craven to come up with the Last House budget of $90,000.
Yikes, that's so little.
Yeah. Ultimately, the movie was screened much more widely than he assumed, leaving him ostracized due to the content of the film.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I mean...
At the time?
Oh, Last House on the Left. Okay, I was thinking of the people under the stairs.
No. Last House on the Left, at the time, no one had made a movie like that.
That was about, like, sexual
revenge.
assault. Yeah.
The girls get assaulted at the beginning, and then the parents go on a murderous revenge spree and kill everyone.
They remade that.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. It was a great movie, and it was freaky, and it was such a low budget, it was done very cinema verite.
Yeah, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It had that sense of dread to it.
Yeah, like it's like you're watching something you shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Yeah. After the negative experience of Last House, Craven attempted to move out of the horror genre and began writing non-horror films with Cunningham, none of which attracted any financial backing.
Okay. Here's my pitch. So there's this guy named, let's call him Ted Bloober. Ted Bloober. And so Ted Bloober comes into your dreams, and he takes you to the Candylands, and he gets you candy and presents and things, and everybody just has a really good time. They ride around on a unicorn that shoots rainbows out of its ass or something. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to pass.
Damn it. I'm going to have to go back to horror.
Based on advice from a friend about the ease of filming in the Nevada deserts, Craven had an idea for a horror movie. The resulting film, The Hills Have Eyes, cemented Craven as a horror film director, with Craven noting,
"It soon became clear that I wasn't going to do anything else unless it was scary."
It's true.
Well, that was such a good movie, too.
It is a great movie.
The Hills Have Eyes. It's another one of those, I call them dread horror movies, where it's just the sense of dread and uncomfortable nature of it just makes it so unsettling to watch.
Yeah, it definitely, the pervasive dread of, like, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like something that you shouldn't be seeing because it's not really like anything we've seen before. You know, the early Corman stuff kind of had that feel because, you had Coppola and Scorsese making these low budget movies. So hey, you had these guys doing some pretty crazy stuff, but still, in terms of horror movies, these still to this day are the most uncomfortable to watch.
Oh, yeah.
They're not like, ooh, fun, like, summer camp, or, gonna kill me in my dreams. It's more like, oh my God, this is so horrible. I need a shower.
I think the only modern movie like that would be Irreversible.
Yeah.
Which is just that like, man, I watched it, I liked it, don't ever need to see it again.
No. And I think the new Dahmer series has that quality.
Oh, really?
Too. Yeah, it's unsettling.
Okay.
And it is, it's almost too unsettling.
I'm wavering back and forth between watching it because
I've enjoyed it.
I've heard that it kind of glamorizes him, and I'm not a huge fan.
I don't think it glamorizes him. I think it's your typical Ryan Murphy retelling of something. I don't think it, is glorifies, well, hey there, I'm a good guy and I'm misunderstood. No, I think it's gross. I think it's a pretty frank portrait so far. Maybe it changes and turns into a musical and they start, saying how wonderful he was, but so far so good. And again, Evan Peters.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
God, such a great actor.
He is.
Evan Peters, I know.
Yes. In 1981, Wes Craven directed Deadly Blessing with Ernest Borgnine and a young Sharon Stone.
Ernest Borgnine, yeah, he was great. He was.
I've never seen this. So
you haven't?
Mm-mm. Deadly Blessing.
Yeah, I don't know if I have either. I probably have. I watched all that stuff, but
I'm
I don't
sure
remember.
You're a big Craven fan. I'm sure you probably have. I don't think it's obviously not one of his better known movies.
No, it's one of the beginnings.
In 1982, he wrote and directed Swamp Thing, based on the DC Vertigo comic starring Ray Wise and Adrienne Barbeau.
Ray Wise, was he the Swamp Thing?
I think so.
Interesting. I love Ray Wise.
But
I don't know. I think he might have been a reporter or something.
I don't remember.
I think they got a big old guy.
I remember Swamp Thing being on, like, the paid channels, like Cinemax and stuff a lot when I was growing up. Didn't realize it was Wes Craven, and I honestly couldn't tell you. With Ray Wise, I have no idea.
No, I don't think it was him. I think it was a big guy playing the Swamp Thing. But I remember the cover, Adrienne Barbeau looking all sexy with the Swamp Thing.
I remember really liking the movie. And also being kind of young and being like, I probably shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it too.
Shortly after production wrapped on Swamp Thing in 1981, Craven started writing the screenplay for A Nightmare on Elm Street. The basis of the film was inspired by several newspaper articles printed in the Los Angeles Times in the 1970s about Hmong refugees who, after fleeing to the United States because of war and genocide in Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, suffered disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep.
That's called PTSD.
Yeah, obviously. Some of the men died in their sleep soon after.
That's creepy, though.
That's super creepy. Medical authorities called the phenomenon Asian death syndrome.
Good Lord. That's... Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was a thing, though. I do remember reading about this, and I don't think it's been done since then. But yeah, it's such a severe form of PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something else, too. I mean...
Well, I imagine.
It just seems horrific.
Craven stated...
It was a series of articles in the LA Times, 3 small articles about men from Southeast Asia who were from immigrant families and had died in the middle of nightmares. And the paper never correlated them, never said, hey, we've had another story like this.
Yeah, but hey, it inspired Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, that was also back when sensationalism, you always had the weird news of the weird, and that was the same thing with spontaneous combustion. And there were all these weird can you die in your sleep? That's another myth. If you die in your sleep, you're going to die. Well, trust me, that's not true. I know.
The film's villain, Freddy Krueger, is drawn from Craven's early life. One night, a young Craven saw an elderly man walking on the side path outside the window of his home. The man stopped to glance at a startled Craven and walked off. This served as the inspiration for Freddy Krueger.
That was a really definitive moment for him.
Apparently.
I wonder what that old man was just probably like, hello, little boy. You're going to kill me.
Initially, Fred Krueger was intended to be a child molester, but Craven eventually characterized him as a child murderer to avoid being accused of exploiting a spate of highly publicized child molestation cases that occurred in California around the time of production of the film.
Nice. Make him a murderer instead of a molester.
Yeah, this was the Satanic Panic stuff in San Diego.
Oh, yes. It was exactly the McMartin crap and everything that was going around, and we talked about it in the last one, about it's on all the talk shows.
Yeah, it was everywhere. Craven took Fred Krueger's name from a bully that harassed him at school. One of the villains in Last House was also named after this bully, but his name was shortened to Krug.
Hey, Krug!
Immediately just sounds like a numbskull.
Yeah, my name's Krug. I like hot rods and putting cigarettes in my sleeve and beating up guys that I'm secretly attracted to.
Yeah.
I'm Krug!
Craven chose to make Krueger's sweater red and green after reading an article in a 1982 Scientific American that said these two colors were the most clashing colors to the human retina.
But they're Christmas.
Which is why they're for Christmas, I guess.
I don't understand.
Yeah. For a time, Craven had considered a sickle as the weapon of choice for the killer, but around the 3rd or 4th drafts of the script, the iconic glove had become his final choice.
Nice. A sickle would have been a little unwieldy for...
Yeah, it would have been
Freddy.
a lot.
Hold on, let me... And especially in those little... the boiler... The tight confines of the boiler room. Oh, let me get my sickle.
I just gotta damn it. Unstick it from the wall here. Give me a second. Give me a second.
You're not too scary, Kruger.
Upon completion of the script, Craven pitched it to several studios, but each one of them rejected it for different reasons. The first studio was Walt Disney Productions, although they wanted Craven to tone down the content to make it suitable for children and preteens.
Hey, look, how you doing? I want you to tone it down and make it okay for kids.
What could he have cut down to make it okay? It would have changed entirely.
Hey, look, all they have to do is say boo when they're scared, and they wake up and they're scared.
So I think it goes without saying that Craven declined this.
Yeah.
And moved on.
F you, Mickey Mouse.
After another studio Craven pitched to was Paramount Pictures, which passed on the project due to its similarity to Dreamscape, which was slated to be released in 1984.
Yeah, I made the wrong choice on that one.
Did Dreamscape, does that have Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was an interesting movie. It didn't do very well, though.
No.
I saw it in the theater. Of course, I saw everything in the theater back then.
I definitely saw it on TV, but I just remember it being Dreamscape, and I was like, oh, it must be cool, and I think I saw it once.
That dude turns into the snake at the end. And they're trying to murder the president. It was like a Dream Assassins.
Oh, okay.
And the guy from Warriors that goes, Warriors come out to play.
Oh, yeah.
He was the bad guy, and he was like the good. There's like a program about getting in your dreams, and Dennis Quaid and some lady.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then the Warriors guy was the second best or the best, and he had messed up brains, so he got in there and they made him an assassin, and then they had to go. Dennis Quaid and Kate Capshaw, I believe, had to go and stop him from killing the president.
Wow!
It turns into a big snake.
His dreams. Yeah. Wow. I don't have to watch the movie again.
Nope. You do not. That is succinct and apt.
Universal Studios also passed. Craven, who was in desperate personal and financial straits during this period, later framed the company's rejection letter on the wall of his office, which reads in its December 14th, 1982 print,
"We have reviewed the script you have submitted, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Unfortunately, the script did not receive an enthusiastic enough response from us to go forward at this time. However, when you have a finished print, please get in touch and we would be delighted to screen it for a possible negative pickup."
Yeah, it's such a typical executive response.
Basically, we don't want to give you the money to make it, but once you make it, if it's good enough,
we'll jump on those coattails.
We'll pay you a pittance to pick it up.
Finally, the fledgling and independent New Line Cinema Corporation, which had up to that point only distributed films, agreed to produce the movie. During filming, New Line's distribution deal for the film fell through, and for 2 weeks it was unable to pay its entire cast and crew.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can just imagine. That would suck so much.
Oh, yeah.
Being a young company and being like, I'm sorry.
Well, and a lot of those actors are SAG.
Yeah.
You know, so you the penalties from delaying pay, even back then.
Although New Line has gone on to make bigger and more profitable films, A Nightmare on Elm Street was its first commercial success, and the studio is often referred to as the house that Freddy built.
Yeah, I built that house. Yeah, come to Freddy.
They had a revolving carousel of investors agreeing and backing out all the way through production. The original budget was $700,000. Robert Shea, producer and founder of New Line Cinema, said,
"It ended up at $1.1 million. Half the funding came from a Yugoslavian guy who had a girlfriend he wanted in movies."
As far as I know, she was not cast in anything. So.
Was that Heather Langenkamp?
I don't think so, no. They did cast Heather Langenkamp, but yeah.
It was Lynn
Shea. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if the founder of New Line Cinema, Robert Shea, and Lynn Shea are related.
I don't know. I think it's spelled differently.
I should have looked that up. It's not.
It isn't?
No, they're spelled the same. It had an E on the end, which I think is weird. But
I'm sure. I mean, it's a pretty common Irish name, I believe.
It is. So the cast, Heather Langenkamp is Nancy Thompson.
Oh, hi. Oh, boy, I should have taken some acting classes.
She is, to me, honestly, the epitome of Girl Next Door. Like, she just has that face where it's like, this is somebody I grew up with.
Oh, yeah, she does definitely have the look of the mousy Midwestern.
Yeah, 100%.
Even though she lives in California. But it's all those... It's all the little vests and the way they dress her and prim and props.
Phoebe watched this with us, and at least twice she was like, "What is Nancy wearing?"
I know. She's wearing like a church secretary's outfit
she was
most of the time to show that she's a pure girl.
She's a pure girl. Craven said that he wanted someone very non-Hollywood for the role of Nancy. And
he got it.
Believed Langenkamp fit the bill. She appeared in several commercials and Passions, a TV movie starring Joanne Woodward and Lindsay Wagner, which aired in October of 1984.
Yeah, the wife of Paul Newman and the bionic woman herself, Lindsay Wagner.
Langenkamp had actually been cast in The Outsiders and Rumblefish in 1983 and actually shot scenes, but all of her scenes had been deleted.
Yeah, there's probably, I would like to see the override. Okay, look, she's so much better now, and this was her first thing, and I'm trying to be positive too, but in terms of the acting, she's a little green around the gills.
She's definitely, and especially, I'm sure they probably shot it in pretty much like order, because the beginning of that movie, she is not good. No. There's some bad lines in that movie.
Yeah, and again, the script probably isn't the best, and it's hard as a kid to make quit.
Yeah.
Quit yanking my chain. It's just like whenever they try to I was telling you, I'm reading the Stephen King book now that's supposed to be written by a 17-year-old. And whenever he puts in you're the bee's knees, kid.
It's like, no, I'm sorry. You're 17.
You're too big for your britches. Those kind of things just don't work.
Right.
But she just, I think, had the hardest time.
Yeah.
She was trying really hard.
No, and she definitely, as the movie progressed, she was much better. Yeah. It got better.
There's just moments when
beginning
it's
is a little cringy. Yeah.
But there are moments, too, when she's great.
Oh, yeah.
Towards the end, when she's just like, I'm going to come get you, effer,
When she has more purpose, she's much stronger. Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. And I think, maybe she wasn't getting solid stuff back from her mom, too, when they were doing their scenes together. Because it was like watching one of his early movies without the sex in it.
Oh, yes, that's true. Heather Langenkamp had taken time off her studies at Stanford to continue acting. She landed the role of Nancy Thompson after an open audition, beating out more than 200 actresses. Langenkamp was already known to Annette Benson, the casting director, as she had auditioned for Night of the Comet and The Last Starfighter previously, losing out to Catherine Mary Stewart on both occasions.
Oh, my crush. Catherine Mary Stewart. She's awesome.
She's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Demi Moore, Courtney Cox, Tracy Gold, and Jennifer Grey have all been rumored to have auditioned for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Too edgy. They didn't have the innocence that she had. And I'll give that to Langenkamp.
Jennifer Grey may have.
Maybe.
But definitely Demi Moore and Courtney Cox would have been too much. But yeah, but Langenkamp was the perfect choice.
Because Langenkamp she's a beautiful woman,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't made to be beautiful. She wasn't plain, but she was not
like supermodel beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, all of these kids, with the exception of maybe Johnny Depp, look and the other guy who looks like he came out of the road company of Greece. So the two guys look like Hollywood guys, but both her and Amanda Weiss are both perfectly cast. I think.
Yeah, they're both down to earth, like Girl Next Door.
Exactly,
Yeah,
look like they could be Midwestern ladies.
Yeah, totally. Langenkamp returned as Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors in 1987, and also played a fictionalized version of herself in Wes Craven's New Nightmare in 1994.
That was fun. I enjoyed A New Nightmare. I thought it was an interesting...
thought I had seen it. I don't think I have.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I have.
It's very meta. It's like one of those, we're making a movie, but the movie is real kind of thing.
It was we'll talk about it more later, but it was the first time that Craven came back to work on the franchise again.
Well, he was so relevant again because of Scream.
Yeah.
So he needed to Screamify
This was
Nightmare.
Before Scream.
Really?
Yeah.
Scream was in 96.
96 or 97. Yeah. So yeah, but I think he had this idea of like, how do I make this fresh again? And that's where New Nightmare came out.
Interesting.
Langenkamp also made an appearance in Hellraiser Judgment in 2018. She can currently be seen as Dr. Stanton in The Midnight Club on Netflix.
Nice. Glad she's still working.
Yeah, she's still doing it. John Saxon was cast as Lieutenant Donald Don Thompson.
Lieutenant Donald Thompson. What are you doing? Oh, come on, Nancy, just go to sleep. There's nothing to see here. But Daddy...
So...
Oh, Nancy, stop it. You're just being a weirdo. Just cut it out. But Daddy, I just... Stop it. Nancy, you're an idiot.
He was the epitome of every character that I hate in horror movies.
Yeah.
That just immediately goes, this is not happening.
Hey, what are you doing here, Nancy?
But for some reason with John Saxon, I totally buy it.
Well, yeah, because he's just got that no-nonsense, I don't give an F kind of attitude that works really well.
Yeah.
Like all of those kind of 70s guys, you know, they all have that same kind of Marlboro attitude, you know?
Tough
They're
guy.
Smoking, they're tough guys, they don't have time for your nonsense.
No. John Saxon studied acting with Stella Adler before beginning his career as a contract actor for Universal Pictures, appearing in such films as the musical Rock Pretty Baby in 1956, Sal Mineo, and the neo-noir Portrait in Black in 1961 with Lana Turner and Anthony Quinn, which earned him a reputation as a teen idol and won him a Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year actor.
Oh, yeah, he was dreamy when he was a youngie.
Oh, yeah. He was a handsome dude.
Yes, very handsome, but very, very severe.
It's just so funny because I've never seen any of his early stuff, so like it's weird to think of him as being like a teen idol. Saxon, who had done martial arts since 1957, appeared as the martial artist Roper in 1973's Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee's first major Hollywood film.
Which was weird because that character went on to buy a building in Santa Monica and rent to two girls and a guy, but the guy had to pretend like he was gay.
Yeah.
Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes three's a crowd, but in that case, three was company.
John Saxon made his horror film debut in Black Christmas in 1974 with Margot Kidder, Olivia Hussey, and Keir Dullea, written and directed by Bob Clark.
Yeah, Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
I love how Bob Clark directed the two bookends of Christmas.
He did.
Like the most evil Christmas movie and the sweetest Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's a good double feature. Bob Clark Christmas Experience.
But definitely watch the original Black Christmas. There have been like 3 remakes, and they're all trash.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not usually like the kind that's like, remakes suck. They're just bad.
No, that's me. I'm the guy that...
I know. But definitely watch the original Black Christmas. He continued to play cops throughout most of the 80s, such as in Running Scared in 1980 and Blood Beach in 1981.
This beach, it's a blood beach.
It's made of blood. With a foray into sci-fi with Battle Beyond the Stars in 1980.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
He was fantastic in that. Also, another one of my favorite horror movies, he made a memorable appearance in Dario Argento's Tenebrae in 1982.
Oh, yeah.
Which is such a fantastic movie.
Oh, Dario. He was a creep.
He was weird. Over his career, he appeared in more than 200 projects in film and TV. On July 25th, 2020, Saxon died of complications from pneumonia 11 days shy of his 84th birthday.
Aww.
But he's got such a huge oeuvre. Like, he's got such a good pantheon of films.
Yeah, he does.
He's definitely worth looking into. Robert Englund was cast as Freddy Krueger. Actor David Warner was originally cast to play Freddy.
Come to Freddy. I will cut you up in your dreams.
Warner had appeared in The Omen and more recently to the movie Tron.
Yeah. Tron.
Makeup tests were done, but he had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts.
I'm sorry, Wes. I have some scheduling conflicts.
Replacing him proved to be difficult. Kane Hodder, who would later be best known for playing fellow slasher icon Jason Voorhees, was among those who Wes Craven talked with about the role of Freddy. Craven said,
I couldn't find an actor to play Freddy Krueger with the sense of ferocity I was seeking. Everyone was too quiet, too compassionate towards children. Then Robert Englund auditioned. He wasn't as tall as I'd hoped, and he had baby fat on his face, but he impressed me with his willingness to go to the dark places in his mind. Robert understood Freddy. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, I totally understood him. I got him really good. Yeah, I did.
Not make me want to hang out with Robert Englund.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
In 1976, Englund auditioned for the role of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker in Star Wars.
Hey, Greedo. I'm going to shoot you first.
While he obviously didn't get either part, he actually suggested Mark Hamill for the role of Luke.
Nice.
Englund appeared in the 1977 film Eaten Alive, directed by Tobe Hooper. He then played Ranger in Galaxy of Terror, produced by Roger Corman, released in 1981. Englund did bit parts in a number of films, but had found more success in TV, doing guest parts in a number of shows like
Soap, Charlie's Angels, Chips, Heart to Heart, and Simon.
Before being cast in the miniseries V in 1983.
Yeah, V.
I loved V. That was
Aliens.
one of my first obsessions when I was young.
They were reptilians, Adam.
They were hiding.
Yeah, they were.
Amongst us.
And there was the Beastmaster was in it.
Mark Singer.
Mark Singer.
Yeah.
Did he bring along his 2 ferrets?
I don't think so, because that was a different character.
Yeah, it was.
Casting director Annette Benson had talked Craven into seeing Englund about the role after he'd auditioned for National Lampoon's Class Reunion. Remember that one?
Nope.
Englund had darkened his lower eyelids with cigarette ash on his way to the audition and slicked his hair back. Englund said,
I looked strange. I sat there and listened to Wes talk. He was tall and preppy and erudite. I posed a bit, like Klaus Kinski. And that was the audition.
He took the part because it was the only project that fit his schedule during the hiatus between the V miniseries and V the series.
Hey, what do I got going between V? Oh, okay.
I guess I'll be
Freddy.
Be Freddy Krueger. Englund has appeared in all of the Nightmare sequels and the anthology TV show, as well as making a number of guest appearances as himself or Freddy in various TV episodes.
Oh, he milked that.
Oh, he has.
He milks it. And, God love him. Everybody would.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. Hell yeah.
Oh, I remember that anthology show.
Yeah.
Hey there, kids.
Well,
Welcome to the Nightmare on Elm Street, the series. Today, we're going to meet some guys who are really jerks.
he's gone on
I'm
to
going to
do...
get them.
He's gone on to do a ton of voice work and can most recently be seen in the current season of Stranger Things.
Yeah?
He plays a character in Stranger Things. Yeah.
Totally.
I think he's only in one episode, but he has
a
guest
scientist
appearance.
or something.
Yeah,
Trying
that
to
wouldn't
remember.
surprise me. Yeah. Johnny Depp was cast as Glenn Lance.
Oh, Johnny
His name was
Depp.
Lance. It's so terrible. Depp moved to Los Angeles with his band when he was 20. After the band split up, Depp's then wife, Lori Ann Allison, introduced him to actor Nicolas Cage.
Hi, I'm Nicolas Cage.
After they became drinking buddies, Cage advised him to pursue acting.
You should pursue acting.
Johnny Depp was unknown when he was cast, initially accompanying his friend Jackie Earle Haley, who would eventually go on to play Freddy in the 2010 remake, to the audition.
Weird.
Yeah, I know, it's a little weird kismet there. According to Depp, the role of Glenn was originally written as a
Big, Ron, beach jock, football player guy.
far from his own appearance, but Wes Craven's daughters picked Depp's headshot from the set he showed them.
Of course they did. He's the prettiest human being ever. You forget how just gorgeous he was.
He
was beautiful.
It was hard to not,
He's just such a pretty guy. And he was a good guy in the movie, too. He tried to help her.
He did. He really did. Charlie Sheen was considered for the role, but allegedly wanted too much money. He has actually gone on record as stating that he didn't understand the script and kicks himself for not taking the part.
I don't get this. I don't get it. Easy, Charlie. Did you understand?
You've heard of these things called dreams, right?
Nope. Huh.
You know what nightmares are, right?
Oh, you betcha.
Okay. It's rumored that John Cusack, Brad Pitt, Kiefer Sutherland, Nicolas Cage, and C. Thomas Howell are also up for the part, but there is nothing to substantiate this.
They all would have been fine.
I think there's been a mythology rumored around it for the last years.
It's every actor who was young at the time.
Yeah.
I bet you Pitt probably did, because he was pretty unknown back then.
Very unknown at this point, yeah. Though Depp said he
didn't have any desire to be an actor.
He continued to be cast in projects, making enough to cover the bills that his musical career couldn't.
Wow. I bet you there's 1,000 million people right now. I bet you there's 1 million people right now that are just like, that effing F-hole. Man, I guess I'll just act to make money from my band. Oh, they want me on a series? Sure. I'll do it. I'll do it for the money for my band. Oh, F you, Johnny D.
This is precisely why I included this, just for that reaction.
Oh, man.
God, we would have been... If his musical career had taken off, we never would have to deal with Johnny Depp the actor.
Well, that would have been sad, because I love Johnny Depp the actor.
Sure. He could most recently be seen in the highly publicized divorce proceedings with his second wife, Amber Heard.
Yeah, I stayed away from that.
Yeah. He'll be playing Louis XV in an upcoming biopic written and directed by Mai Wen, a French actress and filmmaker.
Well, I bet it'll be a tour de force performance.
Ronnie Blakely was cast as Marge Thompson, Heather Langenkamp's mother in the movie. Blakely started as a singer-songwriter. Blakely began her music career in New York, improvising vocally with Moog synthesizers in Carnegie Hall to music by Gershon Kingsley.
Must have been so weird.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard of Moog?
Oh yeah.
But this, by the way, all of this fascinated me. I thought she, came out of like...
Get nowhere?
Yeah, like...
She has this weird long backstory. Her first soundtrack was composed for the 20th Century Fox film Welcome Home Soldier Boy, starring Joe Don Baker, and earned her a spot in Who's Who in America.
Oh, Joe Don Baker. I love Joe Don Baker. He was the guy with the baseball bat. Colonel Buford T. or Sheriff Buford T.
It's something.
Busco or something.
Yeah, that's something like that. Blakely released her self-titled debut album on Elektra Records in 1972. The album featured Blakely's original songs, self-accompanied on piano. Blakely also made the musical arrangements. The song Bluebird featured a duet with Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, wow.
That's
a great song.
Yeah. That same year, Blakely appeared in Nashville, directed by Robert Altman.
I do not remember her in this. But I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, one of the leads. I mean, granted, I know there was like 14 leads in the movie, but yeah. Blakely performed her own songs in character, including Tape Deck in His Tractor, Dues, and My Idaho Home. Blakely's performance in Nashville was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress,
Good God,
Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress Motion Picture, and for Best Acting Debut in a Motion Picture Female, a BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, and the Grammy Award for Album of Best Original Score written for a Motion Picture or Television Special. She actually won the National Board of Review Award for Best Supporting Actress.
Damn, you go,
Ronnie Blakely.
Ronnie Blakely.
Her guest starring roles in television series include
Vegas, The Love Boat, Highway to Heaven, Trapper John M.D., Hotel, The Runaways, Beyond Westworld, and Tales from the Dark Side.
She's most recently wrote, produced, and directed the 2012 film Of One Blood, her first foray into films in over 20 years after taking time off to raise her daughter.
You would not have guessed any of this from her performance in Nightmare on Elm Street.
I don't think she really understood. I don't know.
It's overwrought. It's the dialogue, too. Look, I don't completely blame these actors because maybe they weren't directed super well. He had a lot of stuff on his mind, and he wasn't super concerned about the non-scary scenes or whatever. But she carrying around that big old frosted bottle of vodka
there was
and hiding it, even though she's carrying it all over the house. She's got them hidden all over the house, even though she's doing nothing to hide these bottles that are half as big as she is that she's chugging from.
Well, that was the moment when Heather Langenkamp and her are making up, and she's laying in bed, and she has some line, I don't know what it is, and then the big bottle comes out. I literally laughed out loud.
So
I couldn't help it.
I'm gonna stop drinking too, honey. Just get some sleep.
Here's my giant jug of vodka.
Her whole raison d'etre was to get her to go to sleep, and then when she just takes, I want to come down to the basement, and she takes her down there. And tells her the gross Freddy Krueger thing, and then whips out I kept the finger. She kept the blades. This means, this is what it means. It means she went in to the fire and to his corpse and pulled the blades off and hit him.
Well, yeah, there's a reason she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, she's a bit of a mess. But man, because again, probably not her fault.
Not her best performance.
But it's a very one note.
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
Yeah,
Get some sleep.
She's definitely playing the fact that she burned a man to death through the entire thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that her and Heather Langenkamp got a lot of good direction when they were doing their scenes together, because a lot of times they seem like they're in two different movies.
And they did not have great chemistry. Like, it wasn't, I didn't buy them as mother and daughter. I mean, that was part of it.
Yeah, she was a bit too young. And
this was Wes. I don't know.
She looked like she should have been Amanda Weiss's mom. Really?
Yeah, agreed.
And the other actress who played Johnny Depp's mom, who I love.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She was so much better. I mean, she just played.
Yeah.
His parents played it so well.
Yeah.
I don't want that crazy girl talking to my son.
Oh, chubby dad.
Amanda Weiss was cast as Tina Gray. Weiss made her acting debut in an episode of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century in 1981.
Hey, guys.
Hey!
Hey, I know I came down before talking about Miss Amanda Weiss, but you guys don't talk about me very much anymore on the show, so I just wanted to come down and say hey and reiterate that she was such a pleasure to have on set. She brought some donuts for the crew, and her and I had a little bit of a spa day.
Nice.
After we shot the episode, she was sweet as pie.
All right.
Anyway, gotta get back.
All right.
Yep, back's in some trouble. Okay, gotta get him out of troops.
Thanks for stopping by, Colonel Wilma Deering.
Colonel Wilma Deering.
Always nice to pop in.
She's so pleasant.
It's like Beetlejuice. You say the name, she
I know.
just appears.
She's so cute.
Weiss rose to prominence with Fast Times at Ridgemont High in 1982. There were no separate auditions for the characters of Tina and Nancy. All the actresses who auditioned for one of the two female roles read for the role of Nancy, and upon potentially being called back, were mixed with other actresses trying to find a pair that had chemistry.
That was pretty common back then. That's kind of like how they did Star Wars. And, when they were trying to find new people, it was all mixing and matching.
Right. Amanda Weiss was among those switched to Tina after a callback. Wes Craven decided immediately upon mixing Weiss and Langenkamp that this was the duo he wanted. Craven then mixed the duo with auditioners for the male teenage roles, trying to find actors who had chemistry with Weiss and or Langenkamp. She appeared in Better Off Dead in 1985.
Yeah, she did.
If you want more info on Weiss, please listen to our Better Off Dead episode.
Yeah, please do.
She continues to act in film and TV.
Good for her. I like her a lot.
Nick Corey is Rod Lane.
Rod Lane.
I guess that was a callback from his earlier sexy movies that he directed.
Probably.
It's probably one of the names he used as director.
Directed by Rod Lane.
Nick Corey's real name is Jesus Jesu Garcia. His first role was on the TV show Fame in 1982, where he used the stage name Tom Fox.
Yeah, a thom.
Tom Fox.
You're picking your own name and you made it a thom. F you, buddy. Yeah, he was way too. He looked like he was a 30-year-old high school student.
He looked like he had just discovered cocaine. Like,
Yeah.
it was a little much.
He's just, again, he was a very handsome guy.
Yeah.
And I knew him from Fame.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that show and movie.
Yeah.
But he was good. He was good in the part. But he just, again, didn't seem like he was from, again,
Yeah.
it's hard to picture this as L.A. because there were boilers and basements. And
Right.
It was like a Midwest Los Angeles movie.
Weird hybrid.
Yeah, and then this guy, of course, the only person of color is immediately thought of as the murderer.
Right.
Got to make him the bad guy.
Totally. After Nightmare, he appeared in a number of movies, including Wildcats, 1986, starring Goldie Hawn, with the film debuts of Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes.
Such a great movie, and he was really good in that. This guy is a good actor.
Yeah. I thought he was great in
I tease him
Nightmare.
because he's too pretty.
Yeah. He was in Predator 2 in 1990, one of the best sequels of all time.
Oh, we're doing that.
And he had a number of guest appearances in TV shows. Garcia is an ordained minister in the movement of spiritual inner awareness founded by John Roger.
Okay.
Joseph Whipp was cast as Sergeant Parker, the cop that couldn't figure out that 3 broken windows in a house might mean something's going on.
All right, look. If anything happens, come get me. Anything weird.
Okay, I'll do that. Do, watching the house.
Oh my God! Help me! He's killing me! He's killing me!
Huh? What's going on? You better get back to bed.
Oh my God! He's after me! He's killing us all! He's killing us all!
Huh, that seems a little weird. I don't know. Well, maybe one more time and I'll go get the chief.
He's right behind me. You can see him now, and the place is on fire.
Maybe I'll go get the chief now. Ba-boop-ba-doo.
His first credited appearance is in Escape from Alcatraz as a guard. He would play a lot of cops during his career.
Yeah, and his role in Escape. Well, I guess I'll walk down here and leave the cell door open. Doop-a-doo. Hey, look at that. It's a head made out of
Paper mache.
paper mache. Papier mache is it spelled. But it's probably real. Anyway, boop-a-doo.
He returned to working with Wes Craven in Scream in 1996, playing Sheriff Burke.
He was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
I love Sheriff Burke. He was really great.
Most of his career has been in direct-to-home media films and B-movies.
Hey, he's a character actor, man. You take it where you get it, and he does a good job.
Charles Fleischer was cast as Dr. King in the
Please.
Sleep Clinic. Fleischer is best known as the voices of Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yep. Great movie.
A fantastic movie.
I used to see Charles Fleischer all the time in the Whole Foods down the street.
Oh, yeah?
Super nice guy. Always said hello when we passed. He was such an incredibly nice person.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be like, hey, just we ran into each other, and he was just super friendly.
It's just one of those you see. And when I take walks in the neighborhood behind us, there is a character actor. I don't know his name, but I run into him like 3 times a week, and he always smiles and says hi.
He always hands you his resume.
He's fantastic. I'm waiting to see him in something else so I can point him out and be like, oh my God, that's the guy.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was the great thing when we had that, before it became that weird robot supermarket.
Oh, yeah.
But I used to see tons of people that always had some crazy little adventure with some celebrity.
Yeah. Charles Fleischer's gone on to do voice work in Polar Express.
All aboard!
Which I didn't realize because I thought they were literally all Tom Hanks except for the small kid.
He made all the sounds of the train.
And he also did voiceover in the movie We're Back, A Dinosaur's Story. He's made a number of live appearances in film and TV and continues to do acting. Lynn Shay was cast as the teacher.
Oh, I love Lynn Shay.
She's fantastic. Shay is regarded as a scream queen due to her roles in various horror films, including
Alone in the Dark in 1982, Critters in 1986, and its sequel Critters 2, The Main Course in 1988. Amityville, A New Generation in 1993, Wes Craven's New Nightmare in 1994, Dead End in 2003, 2001 Maniacs in 2005, and its sequel 2001 Maniacs Feel the Screams in 2010, Ouija in 2014, and its prequel Ouija, Origin of Evil in 2016, and the 4 Insidious movies starting in 2010.
Shay is also well known for her comedic roles in numerous films by the Farrelly brothers, including
Dumb and Dumber in 1994, Kingpin in 1996. You really like something
so great in
loose
that movie.
there. Ugh. There's Something About Mary in 1998, Detroit Rock City in 1999, Me, Myself, and Irene in 2000, Stuck on You, 2003, and The Three Stooges in 2012.
Overall, during her long career, she's appeared in more than 100 feature films. She routinely has 5 to 6 movies coming out any given year.
Yeah, because she's awesome. I used to run, a friend of mine did a lot of work at Theater West in Los Angeles, and I would go see him, Matthew Hoffman, very great actor. And she would be there a lot, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit.
Nice.
And she was super nice. I mean, one of the friendliest, most, and she was one of those people that are like, well, what are you doing? Which is very rare for...
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was such a sweetheart.
I actually interviewed her for the first Insidious movie
nice.
At the Magic Castle.
She's a genuinely nice person. You can't fake that.
Principal photography began on June 11th, 1984, and lasted a total of 32 days in and around Los Angeles, California.
That's pretty quick.
That is, for the amount of special effects and stuff they did, yeah, that's fast. The high school the protagonist attended was filmed at John Marshall High School, where many other productions such as Grease and Pretty in Pink have been filmed. During production, over 500 gallons of fake blood were used for special effects.
I'm going to need at least 500 gallons of fake blood for the special effects.
So much fake blood.
Are you kidding me? What's our blood budget?
It's at least 500 gallons worth.
Well, look, I'm going to have to make it with food coloring because I just got 500 gallons is going to be a lot of fake blood. I can't go down to Cinema Secrets and just pick up
500 gallons.
And little 5-ounce bottles.
It's a lot of bottles.
Yeah, it adds up. What I'm going to tell you is it adds up.
For the blood geyser sequence, the filmmakers used the same revolving room set that was used for Tina's death.
And that was brilliant. The revolving room scene was used so effectively in this movie.
God, that opening sequence when Tina was dying and he was like in the corner and reaching out, like it was so brilliant. It was done so well. Yeah. They used dyed water because the special effects blood did not have the right look for a geyser. During filming of the scene, the red water poured out in an unexpected way and caused the rotating room to spin.
Oh, the boom's spinning!
Much of the water spilled out of the bedroom window, covering Craven and Heather Langenkamp. Yeah. They filmed another take for the TV version in which a skeleton shoots out from the hollowed-out bed and smashes into the ceiling.
Ooh.
I remember this from the TV movie, or
Nice.
the TV version, because I think it was the first time I saw it was TV. But I remember, and when we were watching it again, I was like, "How?" I felt like there was something more. And
Well, I wonder why they didn't use it.
I don't know.
It seems more gross than not having a skeleton.
It seems like it seems like they would cut that out for the TV version rather than the other way.
Maybe they didn't think people would understand that it was all of Depp's blood, so they'd pop his little skeleton out. They had to use the skeleton of a child because Johnny Depp's very small.
He's very tiny. The scene where Nancy is attacked by Krueger in her bathtub was accomplished with a special bottomless tub. The tub was put in a bathroom set that was built over a swimming pool. During the underwater sequence, Heather Langenkamp was replaced with a stunt woman.
The shot of the claw, the finger, the knife glove coming up between her legs, that is such a scary shot.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
And it was, that's one of those shots where they're like, mark it for the trailer.
Yeah, yeah. The melting staircase in Nancy's dream was Robert Shea's idea based on his own nightmares. It was created using pancake mix.
I had this nightmare where my stairs were made out of pancake mix.
What?
That would be horrifying.
Why was it so scary?
I had to get upstairs. I couldn't get upstairs.
What did you need to do upstairs?
Go to bed, I don't know.
Okay, we'll use it, but that's not a very scary nightmare.
The film's special effects artist Jim Doyle portrayed Freddy on the scene where his face and hands stretch through the wall and reach out for Nancy when she dreams.
Again, a really effectively great shot.
The wall was built by Doyle out of spandex, and the funny thing is that when you look at it now, it looks like it's bad CG.
Yeah.
But it was all practical.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing.
Well, because they had to really get the face in there.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
get the
to get the
actual
stuff,
look.
About halfway through the film, when Nancy is trying to stay awake, a scene from Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead appears on television. Craven decided to include the scene because Raimi had featured a Hills Have Eyes poster in The Evil Dead.
Nice.
In return, Raimi featured a Freddy Krueger glove in the workshed scene of Evil Dead 2 and later in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yep. I love it when these guys do that kind of stuff.
Just little nods back and forth to each other. It's nice. Craven originally planned for the film to have a more evocative ending. Nancy kills Krueger by ceasing to believe in him, then awakens to discover that everything that happened in the film was an elongated nightmare.
I don't believe in you, Freddy Krueger.
Which, I mean, it makes sense, because they build towards that.
Well, everything, that was just a really long nightmare.
However, New Line leader Robert Shea demanded a twist ending in which Krueger disappears and all seems to have been a dream, only for the audience to discover that it was a dream within a dream within a dream.
Listen, this is what I demand, Craven. I demand that you have an ending, a twist ending. But it's got to be a dream, but not just a dream. A dream within a dream, but not just a dream within a dream. I want a dream within a dream within a dream. All right? Make it happen, Craven. Or you're finished in this town.
According to Craven,
the original ending of the script has Nancy come out of the door. It's an unusually cloudy and foggy day. A car pulls up with her dead friends in it. She's startled. She goes out and gets in the car wondering what the hell's going on, and they drive off into the fog, with the mother left standing in the doorstep, and that's it. It's very brief and suggestive that maybe life is sort of dreamlike too. Shea wanted Freddy Krueger to be driving the car and have the kids screaming. It all became very negative. I felt a philosophical tension to my ending. Shea said, "That's too 60s. It's stupid." I refused to have Freddy in the driver's seat, and we thought up about 5 different endings, and the one we used with Freddy pulling the mother through the doorway amused us so much, we could not use it. Oh, my God. The first time I saw that was like, what?
it was
What?
the way she goes through that door
so brilliant.
is so creepy and so messed up.
You know, it was like a sex doll or something, but it's so well done, and it's so
good.
unexpected, and you know something's going down because the rag top is Freddy's sweater.
Yeah.
Which is, a cool little nod, but the pulling, they made the right choice on that ending because it
100%
amused. Every time I see it still, it's just the greatest ending ever.
The film score was written by composer Charles Bernstein. Under the recommendation of his agent, Bernstein met with Wes Craven and was hired to score the film. Bernstein used an electric score? Wow. Bernstein used an electronic score since the film was low budget. Bernstein had previously scored films like Viva Knievel in 1977, starring Evel Knievel.
Viva Knievel!
Which is one of the greatest, worst movies of all time.
But Evel Knievel, baby. People were forgotten. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters. There was just stuff in the 70s that was so weird. We had a stunt guy named Evel Knievel that would just jump weird stuff. Snake Canyon.
He liked to jump buses. A lot of buses.
Oh, and he got hurt all the time. I miss Evel Knievel. They need to. I think somebody's doing it, but there needs to be an Evel Knievel movie.
Yeah. Love at First Bite in 1979, starring George Hamilton.
It was
Funny movie. And he scored Cujo in 1983.
Cujo.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. His most recent score was for the 2015 TV movie Sharktopus vs. Whalewolf.
Oh, man. When Sharktopus and Whalewolf finally meet together in the arena of tension, it's quite a showdown.
It was actually the third movie in the Sharktopus series.
Yeah. I think a friend of ours is in one of the Sharktopus movies. The Sharktopie movies?
Sharktopuses, yeah.
I don't know.
The lyrics for Freddy's theme song, sung by the Jump Rope Children throughout the series and based on 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, was already written and included in the script when Bernstein started writing the soundtrack. The melody for it was not set by Bernstein, but by Heather Langenkamp's boyfriend and soon-to-be husband at the time, Alan Pasqua, who was a session musician himself and co-composed the original CBS Evening News theme.
Wow.
Weird. Bernstein integrated Pasqua's contribution to his soundtrack as he saw fit. One of the three girls who recorded the vocal part of the theme was Robert Shea's then 14-year-old daughter. Per the script, the lyrics are as follows.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. Freddy.
You had to say Freddy at the end?
Freddy Krueger.
All right. When the film was submitted to the Motion Picture Association of America film rating system, they required 2 cuts to grant it an R rating.
Strangely enough, they were just 2 really bad acting cuts from Heather Langenkamp. They're just like, these are really bad.
It was essentially comprised 13 seconds of footage they had to cut out.
Wow.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And the fact that there are people that are obsessed with the uncut version.
Really?
Yeah.
For 13 seconds?
13 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
A Nightmare on Elm Street premiered in the United States with a limited theatrical release on November 9th, 1984, opening in 165 cinemas across the country.
Oh, yeah. The spooky weekend of November 9th.
It grossed $1.2 million during its opening weekend. The film was considered an instant commercial success.
Got my money and Laser Tag Larry's money.
The film eventually earned a total of $25.5 million at the U.S. and Canadian box office, with a total of $57 million worldwide.
Nice.
Off of a $1.1 million budget.
Yeah, that's a really nice payday.
That is some profit. The film received some stellar reviews. Kim Newman wrote in the Monthly Film Bulletin that A Nightmare on Elm Street was closer to a Stephen King adaptation with its small-town setting and...
invented monster myth.
Newman concluded that the film found...
Craven emerging from his recent career slump.
Like Swamp Thing, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, and Invitation to Hell.
With a fine, perhaps definitive boogeyman to back him up. And that the film was a superior example of an overworked genre.
With the success of the movie, sequels were bound to happen.
Oh, man. This movie was so different. Ushered in a new horror age of the 80s that led the way for Chucky, the wisecracking doll. Before, they were lumbering, soulless, talkless goons that just chopped you up. And they were scary.
There were so many clones of Halloween and Friday the 13th, and this was so different.
Exactly. It had a fast-moving, fast-talking, scary, gross thing, rip his face off just to show you how gross he is. And it was really scary. I mean, it was a genuinely frightening movie.
It literally set up the conceit that anything can happen.
Oh,
it didn't matter. You cannot be prepared for anything.
All bets were off. All the rules. The bad guy ran. The bad guy could pop up anywhere. The bad guy could kill anybody at any time as long as they fell asleep.
Yeah.
You didn't know who was... I mean, of course, we knew Heather Langenkamp was going to survive, but basically, we didn't know anybody else, and it was really well done. And it, as a teenager, a young teenager, couldn't drive yet or anything.
Right.
But as a young teenager, it really, really scared me because, you know, your dreams.
Yeah, yeah, and the movie did a well enough job of you not knowing when you were in the dreams. So it literally anything could have happened.
Yeah,
you think you're in reality and it's not. You're actually asleep, and
they were smart enough to make it all kind of a surreality.
Yeah,
so everything was a little foggy or a little overblown or a little too bright,
just a little bit out of focus.
Exactly, or a little something. So you didn't know what was real and what wasn't, especially as Heather starts to get, haggard with her gray hair.
Poor Heather.
But I will have to say, the more haggard she got, the better her acting got too, because she.
I think the part got better as the movie went on.
Yes,
she had more
so did
purpose
she.
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge was released in 1985, directed by Jack Shoulder, who did Alone in the Dark in 1982. Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors was released in 1987. Directed by Chuck Russell, who would go on to do a remake of The Blob in 1988 and The Mask in 1994 with Jim Carrey. The screenplay was by Wes Craven, Bruce Wagner, Chuck Russell, and Frank Darabont.
Nice, Frank Darabont.
So him and Bruce Wagner came up with the story idea, and then he got screenplay credit.
People love this one.
The third one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought it was the fourth movie for some reason, but
this is the
Dream
one,
Warriors.
Yeah, but this is the one that wasn't Patricia Arquette in 3 in Dream Warriors?
I think so.
Because it was like they were in like a mental hospital and nobody believed them or something.
But they were going to take charge.
Yeah.
And they were going to go fight him, and
they were the Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Plus, it had that awesome song by Dokken.
Yeah, you love that video.
It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot.
It hit a lot, yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, was released in 1988. Directed by Rennie Harlan, with a screenplay by Jim Wheat, Ken Wheat, and Brian Helgeland. Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, was released in 1989. Directed by Stephen Hopkins, a second unit director on Highlander in 1986.
Yeah, your favorite movie. That can be only one.
Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare in 1991.
Yeah, they were lying.
That was directed by Richard Talele, who produced Part 4 and would go on to direct Tank Girl in 1995.
I love Tank Girl. I think it's an underrated, fun little sci-fi weird movie.
Agreed.
And anytime you could see Ice-T as a kangaroo man, you got to take it.
Oh, yeah. Wes Craven's New Nightmare was released in 1984, featuring the return of Wes Craven as writer and director.
This was kind of the beginning of this meta-horror rebirth that led to Scream and all of these, the 90s horror genre.
The new genre, yeah. Craven was all over that. And then, of course, Freddy vs. Jason in 2003, directed by Ronnie Yu, a Hong Kong filmmaker who directed Bride of Chucky in 1998.
So much hype for this movie. And it was fun. It wasn't very good. It didn't live up to the hype. It's just these movies were all concept and bad execution at this point.
Yes.
They just were like, okay, well, what if we take the guys and do this? What if we take Jason and put him in space? How are you going to do that? Oh, freeze him?
We'll just set it 1,000 years later.
Yeah, and somehow his weird corpse is on the space. Yeah, it just was concept. But here's the concept, make a movie out of it.
Yeah. Although I will say Jason X has my favorite kill in the Friday the 13th series. Jason X, where they're in the like simulation room.
The camping thing.
And he grabs one person in the sleeping bag and then uses them to beat the other to death.
Yeah, that was clever.
And then it was funny. But that's it.
But this is what happened to all of the franchises. They were all murdered by bad writing and just trying to deliver a new movie every year.
Yeah.
And it was competing with all of the other...
You can only do so much.
Yeah, there were like 5 horror movies that had 20 different sequels, and that's basically what we got, and people got sick of it and sick of them.
Right.
So, we had to move on to something new.
Beginning on October 9th, 1988, Freddy's Nightmares was an anthology series in the vein of The Twilight Zone, which featured different horror stories each week. The show was hosted by Freddy Krueger, with Robert Englund reprising his role from the films.
Yeah, doing the Crypt Keeper, basically.
Essentially. He played more of a background character, but occasionally showed up to influence the plot of particular episodes.
Hey, I'm here to influence the plot.
Apparently there was a couple where he just showed up.
Hey, this is boring.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to inject myself into it to move it along.
The series ran for 2 seasons and a total of 44 episodes, ending March 10th, 1990.
Oh, right before my birthday.
If you have any interest, both seasons are on Tubi right now.
I'm going to have to check a little bit of that out, I think.
I'm curious. I gotta be honest. An NES video game was released in 1989.
Just to go back, I love anthology series. I love them. I love
Yeah,
them all. I watched
same.
the Friday the 13th one. I love Tales from the Crypt.
I think this is why. I think I was thinking of Freddy Nightmares when I'm thinking of the anthology series of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Which didn't have anything to do with the actual series.
No, it was it was like an old guy and 2 young people that looked for cursed objects.
Yeah. An NES video game was released in 1989, which apparently just was a barn burner. It did not. It was just ridiculously convoluted.
I probably rented it.
I'm sure I played it, yeah. In 2010, a remake was released, also titled A Nightmare on Elm Street, starring Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy Krueger. The film was produced by Michael Bay, and that's pretty much all you need to know about it.
Yeah, they took all the fun out of it and tried to make it some sort of serious thing.
Yeah.
And tried to get more into Freddy's psychology and I think they did actually make him a child molester killer.
I think he was, yeah.
in this one. And Jackie Earle Haley is a great actor, but it doesn't work unless it's fun.
Yeah.
It's got to be
that's
goofy,
the character, yeah.
and it's got to be a gritty retelling of A Nightmare on Elm Street is not anything anybody was looking for.
Right. The film was intended as a reboot to the franchise, but plans for a sequel never came to fruition after the film received mostly negative reviews despite being a financial success. On August 7th, 2015, it was reported that New Line Cinema was developing a second remake with Orphan writer David Leslie Johnson.
Okay. I mean, Orphan was pretty good. I didn't see the Orphan 2 that just
I didn't
came
see
out.
the new one that just came out, but yeah, it was good. England expressed interest in returning to the series in a cameo role. Leslie Johnson later added that the work was in limbo due to the success of the Conjuring universe, saying that
Everybody wants to see Freddy again, I think, so I think it's inevitable at some point.
yeah, now granted, this is also 7 years ago, so who knows?
It'll come back. Nothing dies in this town. There's going to be a reboot.
Yeah.
It'll probably star like Timothy Chalamet as
Oh God,
Freddy Krueger.
Although that could be interesting.
It would
I don't
be.
know.
Timothy Chalamet's a great actor.
I didn't initially hate that, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but if they're gonna do it, let's do it. Let's do it
Yeah.
in a way. The best reboots or reimaginings, whether it's Cobra Kai or the Chucky series based on the movie Child's Play,
Right.
they do it in a way that is fun. It isn't super reverent.
Yeah.
It's not precious, but it finds a way to bring in all these things that the fans love.
Yeah.
And not make it necessarily fan service, but make it fan friendly.
Yeah.
They know
yeah.
what if you can find the heart of what makes these things fun,
Right.
and so classic, and squeeze a little bit of that juice out, then you're going to have a good remake or remaster, or whatever.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
think that they should do a Nightmare on Elm Street series like they did with Child's Play.
Yeah.
And maybe start with the beginning of Freddy, when he was still, maybe do a dually, where you tell part of the old, Freddy becoming Freddy with what's going on now,
Like
so
a previous, yeah.
right. So like a splitty, you got the
yeah.
present and the past. I think it would be great. It would be really fun to go back to that universe and delve in a way that's more, it fills out the story more, but doesn't take itself too seriously.
right,
Like it
right.
can't be like a man hunter or some sort of gritty whatever, because then unfortunately, if you make a movie about a child killer or child molester, you got to, in this vein as a goofy horror movie, if you take it too seriously, then it doesn't work, because then it's a child killer.
It's just dreary. and
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no fun. I mean, and that was the main problem with the remake. There's just no fun to it.
No.
And it's not, you want horror movies to be fun. That's what makes them
Yes.
super scary.
They're goofy, and the acting isn't great, and the special effects are kind of wonky.
Yeah.
But it still hits you, and it scares you. And this movie was one of the most effective, scary movies ever made.
Yeah.
And definitely did usher in the 80s version of horror.
Totally.
And look, Wes Craven was a master at horror.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't the best director, he wasn't the best writer, but he made he got what horror was, which is getting together with your friends and getting scared. And that's why I love like Scream, because it's a movie about getting together with your friends and getting scared,
right?
But there's real consequences to it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's not, and it's very apparent that Wes Craven got better as he aged. He got better with every movie. I mean, Scream's phenomenal, and this movie is too. But like, it's obvious you can see him getting more comfortable directing and getting better, especially directing actors.
I'm going to say it. He was the king of the horror genre.
Oh yeah,
he redefined horror several times. You know, starting with redefining Nightmare on Elm Street with that meta Freddy's New Nightmare, which was flawed but really interesting, and a concept that was a completely fresh take on the movie and revitalized it for me, and also paved the way for the Scream franchise. It was kind of like the beginning of that. And so the guy, up until when he passed, which was so sad, he was working his butt off and making great movies, and just you could tell he enjoyed and knew what the horror genre was.
Right.
You know, Toby Hooper, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
These are the masters.
Oh, yeah. They knew what they were doing. Yeah.
And I think he's up there definitely with the greatest horror masters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Watch these movies. They're all available on HBO Max, except for Part 4 for some reason.
Oh, because it's so controversial.
But they're all available. Give them a watch. I'm going to rewatch all of them before next week when we come back for our Stepdad show.
Nice.
I'm in the middle of finishing the Chucky series, the film series. I haven't watched the show yet, but I realized I hadn't watched any of the Chucky sequels. And man, do they get silly!
I gotta watch some of those too.
But they're fun. They're fun, and it knows what it's doing. And I'm excited to rewatch the Nightmare on Elm Street series, because I do think that eventually it does get more serious, and that it
never gets too serious though. Excuse me. It always retains the goofiness, because there's a certain goofiness to Freddy Krueger. Yes, he's terrifying the way he moves and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's always like, "Gonna get you, baby." You know, he's like the one-liner guy.
Yeah.
You know, and more so as the sequels go, he becomes even more of self-parody and goofy. But again, what's really funny is like last Spooktober was great, and I loved watching those movies. But for some reason, these movies have gotten me into the spooky season more so. Like, I'm really excited to watch some horror movies in the next few weeks leading up to Halloween. And I have to put it because I think these were my formative movies. These were my teen, you know, when it was my age. You know what I mean? I think it's because I was entering high school or close to high school when this movie came out. And then, you know, these were the movies where I was age appropriate.
Right.
You know, it could have happened to me.
You were the audience for this.
Exactly. I was way too young for like Friday when I watched Halloween, I was like the age of the kid being babysat. So that was probably a little too young.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. We got Stepdad Show. We'll talk about more spooky horror movies. And, and everything. It'll be great what we've been up to. And I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Come to Freddy. Many hardcore X-rated films.
Under pseudonyms.
Let me do that again because that hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just in something we saw. He was in Chucky.
Was he?
No, this is.
He was in Nightmare on Elm Street that we just saw.
He was the sleep doctor.
He was the sleep doctor.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Fantasy Island, already in progress.